Remember when plastic was this amazing invention, durable, versatile, cheap? Turns out there's a catch. Plastic doesn't just disappear, it breaks down into tiny pieces called microplastics, and guess what? They're everywhere. In the ocean, in the air, even in your bottled water. Ironic, isn't it? These microplastics are like the uninvited guests who overstay their welcome. They just love hanging out where they don't belong. And the worst part, we're only beginning to understand the consequences of this unwelcome house party. Buckle up, folks, because it's about to get bumpy. So how do these microscopic invaders end up inside us? Let me count the ways. First, there's the food chain. Fish mistake microplastics for food. We eat the fish. Voila, microplastics for dinner. Bon appetit. But wait, there's more. Microplastics also lurk in our drinking water, both bottled and tapped. And don't even get me started on the air we breathe. Those tiny plastic fibers from your clothes. Yeah, those are taking a trip to your lungs. See, I told you it was a party. Remember that study about microplastics in human poop? Well, hold on to your hats because it just got real. Scientists have now found microplastics in human brains. Yes, you read that right. Brains, the control center of your entire existence. This is where things get a little scary. We don't know the long-term effects of microplastics on the brain, but let's just say it's probably not good. Think about it. Would you sprinkle plastic confetti on your breakfast cereal? Probably not. So why should our brains be any different? Okay, so we know microplastics are getting into our bodies, including our brains. But what are they doing once they're there? Well, the research is still ongoing, but the early results aren't exactly encouraging. Some studies suggest that microplastics can cause inflammation, which is linked to a whole host of health problems. There are also concerns about microplastics carrying harmful chemicals that can disrupt hormones and potentially even lead to cancer. Fun times, right? Studying microplastics, it's like trying to herd cats in a hurricane. Here's the thing about studying microplastics, it's incredibly difficult. They're tiny, they're everywhere, and they come in all shapes and sizes. It's like trying to study snowflakes in a blizzard. And then there's the problem of replicating real-world conditions in a lab setting. How do you recreate the journey of a microplastic from a plastic bottle to a human brain? It's a logistical nightmare. But hey, scientists are persistent creatures. We'll figure it out eventually. Section 6. Reducing your microplastic intake. Because you've got enough problems. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with issues, from climate change to health concerns. Microplastics are just another problem added to the list, but it's one we can tackle with some mindful changes. So, what can you do to minimize your exposure to microplastics? These tiny particles are everywhere, in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even the food we eat. It's almost impossible to avoid them completely, but there are practical steps you can take to reduce your intake. Well, you can't exactly live in a bubble, although that might be tempting right about now. Imagine trying to navigate your daily life encased in plastic. Not very practical, right? Instead, let's focus on realistic and sustainable habits. But there are some simple steps you can take to reduce your intake. Start by educating yourself about the sources of microplastics and how they enter your body. Knowledge is power, and being informed is the first step towards making better choices. Start by saying no to single-use plastics. These are the biggest culprits when it comes to microplastic pollution. Items like plastic bags, straws, and cutlery are used for a few minutes but can take hundreds of years to decompose. Bring your own bags to the grocery store. This simple habit can significantly cut down on the amount of plastic waste you generate. Plus, reusable bags are often sturdier and more reliable than flimsy plastic ones. Use a reusable water bottle. Skip the straw. These small changes can make a big difference over time. Think about how many plastic bottles and straws you use in a year. Now imagine reducing that number to 0. And when it comes to clothes, choose natural fibers like cotton and wool over synthetic materials like polyester. Synthetic fibers shed microplastics every time you wash them, contributing to water pollution. Every little bit helps. By making these conscious choices, you're not just reducing your microplastic intake, you're also contributing to a healthier planet for future generations. Section 7. What you can do right now, besides panic buying canned goods. In today's world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of environmental issues. But don't worry, there are practical steps you can take to make a difference. Okay, so you've ditched the plastic water bottles. That's a fantastic start. Every small action counts, and by choosing reusable options, you're already reducing your plastic footprint. And you're rocking that canvas tote bag. It's not just a fashion statement, it's a commitment to sustainability. But what else can you do to further your impact? What else can you do? The possibilities are endless. Start by educating yourself and others. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the more you can influence those around you. Well, you can use your voice. Speak up at community meetings, join local environmental groups, and participate in discussions. Your voice can inspire others to take action. Talk to your friends and family about microplastics. Share what you've learned and encourage them to make small changes in their daily lives. Conversations can spark a movement. Contact your elected officials and demand action. Write letters, send emails, or make phone calls. Let them know that plastic pollution is a priority for you and your community. Support organizations working to reduce plastic pollution. Whether it's through donations, volunteering, or spreading the word, your support can make a significant impact. Remember, we're all in this together. Building a community of like-minded individuals can amplify your efforts and create a larger wave of change. The more people who are aware of the problem, the stronger our collective voice becomes. Attend rallies, join protests, and show your support for environmental causes. The more pressure we can put on governments and corporations to find solutions. Sign petitions, support policy changes, and hold those in power accountable, because let's be honest, we've got enough to worry about. The news can be overwhelming and it's easy to feel helpless, but remember, every action you take, no matter how small, contributes to a larger solution, without adding microplastic brain invasion to the list. By taking proactive steps, you're not only protecting the environment but also your health and well-being. Together, we can make a difference. Section 8. The future of microplastics. It's not looking pretty. So what does the future hold for microplastics? This is a question that concerns scientists, environmentalists, and even everyday citizens. Well, if we don't change our ways, it's not looking good. The current trajectory suggests a grim scenario where our oceans, rivers, and even the air we breathe will be saturated with these tiny pollutants. Plastic production is still increasing, and so is the amount of microplastic pollution. Every year, millions of tons of plastic are produced, and a significant portion of it ends up breaking down into microplastics. We're on track for a future where microplastics outnumber fish in the ocean. This isn't just a problem for marine life, it affects the entire food chain, including humans. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are efforts underway to combat this crisis. Environmental activists are tirelessly working to clean up our beaches and waterways. There's still time to turn things around. Scientists are researching innovative solutions to break down microplastics and prevent them from entering our ecosystems in the first place. We need to invest in research, develop new technologies, and create sustainable alternatives to plastic. Engineers and scientists are already making strides in developing biodegradable materials and advanced recycling methods. And most importantly, change our consumption habits. Simple actions like using reusable bags, avoiding single-use plastics, and supporting eco-friendly products can make a significant difference. The future is not yet written. We have the power to shape it through our choices and actions today. It's up to us to decide what kind of world we want to live in. A world drowning in plastic, or one where we coexist harmoniously with nature. The choice is ours, and the time to act is now. Section 9, a final word or two, from your friendly neighborhood astrophysicist. Look, I study the cosmos, I deal with black holes and supernovas, but honestly, microplastics scare me. They're a threat to our planet and our health, and we're only beginning to understand the full extent of the problem. But here's the good news. We can do something about it. We have the power to make a difference. So let's get to work. The fate of the planet and our brains might just depend on it.